Well, hi, Marami. I hope I'm saying your name right, and please correct me if I'm not. I'm not sure I've got the pronunciation of your name correct, so I want to get it right. Um, I have your paper up, and I want to say, first of all, um, much improved, much improved. But there's some things I'd like to go over with you that I think will greatly help you. And rather than type it all out, I thought I would put this video together that would help you in your writing because you've improved so much. I want to help you get to that next level. And um, I certainly hope this is helpful. So please do not be offended. Some people don't appreciate it when you begin to talk to them about their writing, but please understand my comments are uh, designed to be helpful to you and help you grow. You've got some great stuff here. Um, so um, thank you for the APA format. Do review the OWL Purdue site. There is an excellent resource there. Uh, it is a sample paper that Purdue University has put out, and it is exceptional on APA formatting. If you're a visual learner, such as I am, it's helpful to see a diagram. And the diagram that they use, you can look at it and say, okay, my uh, title page should look like this. My margins should look like this. My typeface should. And so that is a very good uh, resource. And I think I gave you guys an APA template. I don't remember. Um, I usually do that in all of my classes. So, there's some things here on the title page that should change. There should be a running head up here. This should not be italicized. It's mostly little stuff that's easily fixed. There should be a title in here. I hope you can see my cursor. But that said, the content here is really, really good. You engage the questions and you answer them thoughtfully. And the formatting stuff, that's easy. Where the meat is in this reflection and engaging those course texts and coming away having been changed, and it's clear that you are doing that. And so I wanted to make sure that you heard that you're on the right track and you're doing well. From a grammatical standpoint, shorten your sentences a little bit. You have a tendency to use a very long sentence. So look at your sentences, and if you have a bunch of coordinating conjunctions, and, or, but, nor, all of those, if there's a good, more than one of those, anytime you have a coordinating conjunction, it becomes a compound sentence. So you have to be careful how you handle that. And so, you don't want to string three sentences together when you could put a period in there and have one compound sentence and one shorter sentence. If you vary your sentence length, it gives interest to your writing and makes it easier to read and to follow. Those long, rambling sentences makes it difficult for the reader to follow your thought. I love this. It's really speaking to me. I need to start categorizing the important things in my life, and I need to stop letting my career focus on outward influences rather than principles. You could punch this sentence up really well take a look at this and here. You have two complete thoughts. So if you put a semicolon in there and take out the space, your sentence now reads, I need to start categorizing important things in my life. I need to stop letting my center focus on outward influences rather than principles. It punches that up just a little bit. So that's just a suggestion to help you, a little grammatical trick. And I think this is a key point. focus on the important stuff. There's a little book out there called The Tyranny of the Urgent, and in it the author postulates that we spend a lot of time engaging things that seem to be urgent. Something happens and we drop everything and we go take care of that. And then the important things in our lives get left aside. So focus on that important stuff. And this living by principle is a key point, and you'll find that both in your life and in leadership, that working by principle is better. And let me give you this example, that if you are, let's say for instance, you're running a company, and you want to set up your company rules. Well, the best way to do that is to set it up by principle. For example, customer service. We want to, Southwest Airlines is a great example of this. They do their customer service by principle. And the principle is they want to treat their customers and employees like they would their family. And that ethos guides everything that they do. And so Southwest Airlines has become very competitive. And they started out as just this little tiny company, but their focus on customer service is what has brought them forward. FedEx is another one. For years, you had the UPS Brown, the mail service. I remember when FedEx came into being, and they started out as Federal Express, and they had this strong ethos on customer service and value. And they grew very, very quickly because of that. So you're spot on in your thinking here on principles. Watch your ending consonants, no, and use the correct form of the word. Here you have no, that should be known. And this should be most times. This is huge, fail to follow through. Identifying that and then putting the things in place to make sure you follow through. What will it take for you to follow through? Do you need to write something down? Do you need to put it on a calendar? Do you need to attach a date to something? And I have an agenda. Stay away from these colloquial expressions, everything to the T. In your academic writing, you shouldn't have those. So planning extensively or something like that. And you're right with this here, checking emails and social media. I think we all fall into that trap. So set yourself up for success. Maybe have your tabs closed on your browser, not having Facebook open to where it pops up a message automatically, but you can turn that feature off in Facebook. Same thing with email. If you can just close your email client, close your Facebook, and focus in on it. And it takes some discipline. Something that will help you too is to have a specific place and a specific time to study. Doing that, when you get to that place in that time, your mind automatically goes to study mode, and it makes it easier. I do that with my grading. And when I sit down at my desk to do my grading and videos and things like that, I can do that better because it's a habit, and Covey would appreciate that. So yes, you have to look inside yourself, develop yourself before you can become effective. Here's another one where you have one of those long sentences, and here's how to fix it. You can become effective in your public life, and this is really easy. Put a period in there. Get rid of that because. That's a coordinating conjunction. And when you see because, usually that's a good indicator that you've got a run-on sentence. Not always, but it's a good flag. I believe you have to be sure of who you are as a person before you can, I would say, serve. Okay. I love your example here. I'm now a youth leader at my church, period. If I am trying to help the kids get closer to their spiritual being, and you could say God there, by telling them to read their Bible, I myself have to read the Bible as well to get familiar with it in case they have questions. And you can shorten that up a little bit. I love the concept, and I love your thinking here. And you don't need myself. You can get rid of that because it's redundant. You've said I there, so you can say I have to read the Bible as well. Now you could correct that run-on sentence by deleting the comma, and you could say I must be familiar with it in case they have questions. And I'll show you another little trick. When you have a word that you've used a lot, like for instance, question here, let me show you a little trick. If you push Shift and F7 on your keyboard in MS Word, let me close my Grammarly. If you look to the right side of my screen, you'll see the thesaurus. I use a program called Grammarly. That's what you're seeing on my screen, and it flags a lot of these grammatical errors. I don't flag them all in your work. I give you a small smattering of them. But if you look over here, you see question. You have query, inquiry, interrogation, request, demand. So let's say I'm just going to put query in here to give you, you can insert that. And so now your sentence reads, I have to read the Bible as well. I have to read the Bible as well. I must be familiar with it in case they have questions so I can be able to answer their query. And you could probably have without a doubt. You're restating something in the sentence. So you could, if you're answering the questions accurately, though without a doubt takes care of itself. So I'll pull that out of there just so you can see it. And I'll close the thesaurus and there was one. Okay, the idea was begin with the end in mind. Okay, this should be was. Puzzling to me. I thought, how can someone, okay, that should be someone's thought process. Okay, I'm not understanding that. I thought, how can someone's thought process start from the end? Okay, I think I get it. I had to read that passage several times through. Yes, absolutely. And begin with the end in mind is starting from the end point and working back from that and saying, I want to be in this particular place. Let me give you a simple, silly example. Let's say, for instance, you're at home one night and you decide you want a dish of ice cream with maybe some chocolate caramel topping, maybe a few nuts and bananas or something like that on it. In your mind, you picture this sundae that you want to make for yourself. So that is your goal. You go into the kitchen, you get out the ingredients, you get the ice cream out of the freezer, you get a bowl out of the cupboard, you get a spoon out of the drawer. You dish up the ice cream, you put the toppings on it, you put the nuts on it, maybe some whipped cream. You put it all together. Now, you have a sundae that you've made, and you go and enjoy that. You started with that sundae because you began with the end in mind. You had a vision of what you wanted to do, where you wanted to get, and you realized that vision by taking the intermediate steps, and you worked backward from the vision to accomplish the steps. That's begin with the end in mind. So I hope that's helpful. Yes. And you use a negative example here, but it's a good one, about sneaking out. How do I explain to my parents? Already I was thinking about the end result, and the answers to my questions did not look good, so I never snuck out, because to me, the bad outweighs the good. So you can apply that same concept to other areas in your life. You'd mentioned, you're studying. When you sit down at the computer to do your work, begin with the end in mind. Look at your course syllabus, see what work needs to be done. Maybe write that out on a calendar. And so at a glance, you can see what assignments need to be done. And okay, I need to be working on my week 5 paper. So I'm going to start work on that now here in week 4. So when I get to week 5 or week 6, I'm not pulling my hair out because I've got too much work to do. So that's another example of begin with the end in mind and how you apply that principle. I started a thought and I didn't finish it. If you're running a company and you're putting together a company policy manual, the best way to do that is by principle. I think I covered that. Much like I talked to you about Southwestern, and their customer service, we can, if you're writing a company manual, if you write that according to principle, you don't have to cover as much in the rules. The principle there is to treat the customer like family. So that tells the ticket agent how they would treat a customer if there's a dispute, or those types of principles. I can explain that more in depth, but both Frankl and Covey assert that happiness can only occur as a side effect. Frankl tells us happiness cannot be pursued, it must ensue. Okay. So I think that's pretty much it. I love that you use these outside references. I'm going to show you another trick. Let me go up to the top here. Another little trick in MS Word. Okay, your title page is all on one page. Goes on through. Okay. Now, your references should be on a separate page. So if you go to the beginning of the word references, hold down your control key, press enter, that puts it on another page. I can teach you a few word tricks. So that's pretty much it. There should be page numbers on here too. If you go into your, I think it's insert and headers. Yeah, here it is. Headers and blank. You can see I have a different first page than the other pages. It's important to have that block checked. And then page number, top of page. So now you have page numbers on your, and while I'm in here, Control I is italics. And Shift F3 changes your capitalization. We do not capitalize small words like of and the. So that gives you some very basic grammatical things, APA things, and content things. I'll close my header and footer, and I will find my here it is. Let me stop my share. And I have a little window that got buried. So let me see if I can find it again. Too much open. Well, I don't know where that went. And I cannot find my, my apologies. I can't find that. It won't let me stop the share. All right. Well, we'll have to finish here. I would have liked to have done a different view to end, but we'll stop here and I'll get this posted. Thanks for all your work, and let me know how I can be helpful to you. So long for now.